And now it's time for the Michelle Dawn Mooney Show.
So, are you feeling the stress? Anyone out there feeling the stress? I know a lot of people are. I sure am. It seems like it is an epidemic. Seriously, so many people are stressed out, and the stress just continues, I think, to go up. And the thing is, we all have it, but how do we deal with it? That's why I am so excited to bring on our next guest. She is the founder of the Stress Institute in Atlanta, also the Mindful Living Network. It is my pleasure to welcome my friend, Dr. Kathleen Hall. Hi, Kathleen.
No, I've missed you.
I've missed you. And every time I see you, it's automatically, you are just a source of relaxation for me because I already know what we're going to talk about.
Well, but the world has, of all the times we've talked, this is the most dramatic change in human history. Everybody's talking about survive, survive, survive. There's a desperate energy in that. So we need to, maybe shift the recording into thrive. We really all have to quit living in this defensive posture because it's really, I don't know what to say. Stress is the epidemic of the 21st century. I would probably compare where we are now to World War II in England, where they were surrounded, the Germans were coming, they had no food, they were being bombed every night. The stress level that we are under psychologically right now is very similar.
Yeah, and we have never lived through a time like we have the last 2 years, but is it just that? What do you think are the factors that are really, because everybody sees it, that we are just a ball of stress, and it seems like it has never been this bad?
First thing when we start, everybody needs to have compassion for yourself, your family, and others. I don't care if you're in the grocery store line and you don't like somebody in front of you, the gas station, everybody please understand that in the latest surveys we have, it's showing over 90% of not just Americans, but people globally are the most stressed that they have ever been. And so we came out of the pandemic, okay? We got the vaccines, moved, and we thought, oh, it's going to be over. But then we had the Omicron variants. And of course, for me personally, my husband's a physician. My daughter is a critical care physician. So we've lived in pure, literally hell for the last couple of years. But we thought we were going to come out, that was going to be gone. It's not. Then we come out of it with all of these mental health problems. We come out of it with inflation we never thought that we would have, shootings. But everybody needs to know that, and this is fine, we're going to get through this. This is not the Titanic. This is not the Lusitania. This is a great, big, beautiful life raft. And you can, in your guided imagery, paint it any color you want. If orange is your favorite color, pink, blue. And we're all in it together, singing Kumbaya. And we are going to get through this. We need to be courageous. We need to be compassionate. And we need to be kind. I think kindness is the healing balm right now. Not one thing, not anything is going to solve all this. The only thing you can do is manage yourself and realize this is the only life you're going to have. And every moment, time is the only thing you have and that you can control, your own precious sacred time. Are you going to volunteer to help other people? Are you going to help the person next door who's got 3 kids that are screaming? Is there an older couple across the street that you can help them with, mow their lawn or go take them some soup? Or take them to the hospital? I don't care what age you are. You will remember what you did during this time if it forwarded the best character out in you, the best traits of yourself, or the worst. My husband and I and our family has always lived with every obstacle as an opportunity. It really is.
Absolutely. And I think of how diamonds are formed under pressure. And we are definitely under a lot of pressure, but a lot of good can come from this time as well. So let's get to the good part, because this is why I'm really excited to have you here, because we all know about the craziness that's going on, and we see it, we feel it, we hear it, it's everywhere. But let's talk about the promise of hope that we have to get through this. How do we do that? What are some fun ways and some easy ways that we can try to navigate through all this craziness?
The first thing I did was after I did my clinical training at Harvard, I developed this. It's a very simple acronym. Don't forget it. It's called SELF. SELF care. Okay. So S is for serenity, which is the stress reduction practice. E is exercise. L is love. And F is food. Okay. Serenity, exercise, love, and food. So, what to remember is every day, and what I suggest and what I do is I set my timer on my phone for every 2 hours. And every 2 hours, this beautiful little music comes on and I stop. At that point, you can choose one of the four to do. Serenity. If I choose serenity, I'll go for 2 minutes. I'll inhale to the count of four and exhale to the count of four. Inhale, or I might do music. I have a playlist that has relaxing music. I may do a guided imagery where I close my eyes, take a deep breath, and pretend I'm on my horse riding through the pasture. So, whatever brings you calm and serenity in that 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, what we know is it resets your thermostat, it redoes your brain. It's just like pushing delete or restarting your computer. You can think, oh, it's just a couple minutes. And what I hope is when you do these things for 2 minutes, you'll see such a reaction in your body and your confidence in yourself. And other people in your family and your people that work with you will say, wow, you really have it together. Or you seemed angry before the meeting and now you seem calm. So S is for serenity. E is exercise. Walk around the block, walk around your office, walk around your house. Somebody like myself, I've got these amazing, huge stairs. So sometimes I'll just walk up and down the stairs for 2 minutes, or you can do yoga stretches in your chair. Please, when I say exercise, it doesn't mean getting on a treadmill or, jogging a marathon. Our body was meant to move. And we're living in a world right now where we live in our computers and these beautiful bodies have to move. E is just exercise, which means movement. L is love. Isolation kills, community heals. And this is what happened in the pandemic too. We got isolated. We are human beings. We were meant to connect. Sometimes I'll just choose love. I'll send my sister an amazingly hilarious cartoon or something. She hits me back. Sometimes we'll just pick up the phone and laugh. Or I have a tribe of women that are my friends. Or I may see one of my neighbors walking outside, walking their dog, and I'll run out and just talk to Margaret for a couple minutes. And then I give her a hug and come back in. But it's got to be something with love. Remember, too, don't get to Friday and go, I didn't talk to any of my friends or email them or text. No, you put it in your schedule. Okay. So every day you should have love. Remember the 2 minutes. And then F is food. I do not believe in the word diet. 92% of humans see the word diet as negative. They hate it. We've all been on diets. It's a terrible word. Food is holy. It's sacred. It's celebrations from the beginning of time. Food is celebration. So remember, some foods hype you up. Too much coffee, too much sugar, too much Diet Coke, whatever it is. Okay, be aware of the food you're putting in your body. If you need to calm down for that 2 minutes, you might want to get yourself a cup of soup. You may want to get yourself a cup of green tea or a glass of tea. We love iced tea. I'm in the South, I'm in Atlanta. So we live off tea, unsweet tea. And all of these things can calm you down. And again, you can Google relaxing foods, relaxing drinks, chamomile tea, raspberry tea, whatever you do. So every 2 hours, you're choosing you to get it. So sometimes I'm just sitting here and I don't feel like doing it, moving. I don't feel like contacting so I'm just going to sit here and choose S. Get it? So you have a choice of and every single thing: serenity, exercise, love, and food. At every medical research institution in the world, Duke, Johns Hopkins, Stanford, Harvard, we have proven over and over again, this is where science meets the soul. Changes your brain chemistry. We need to remember we're like a big vegetable soup with peas and butter beans and tomatoes in it. So everything that happens here changes your chemical soup. Process 100,000, get this, chemical reactions a second in our brain and neurons. So if you don't think just 2 minutes is going to help you, and again, I hope that once you do it 2 minutes, you'll grow it longer. And don't forget to share it with your spouse, your partner, your kids. It's really huge. So that's number one is self-care. The second thing, very quickly, is please have a family meeting once a week. And I have a curriculum for a mindful family meeting, but choose what weeknight it is when everybody can get together. It doesn't vary. It's like a church service. Our family has this family meeting, and during that time you meet, you go around and you check in. How are you? Are you having problems at school? Everybody talks about where they are. My work is too much pressure. Then you go, well, what do I need help with? What kind of problems? I'm under a lot of pressure. I have a project due Thursday. I've got a report due, mom, at school. So everybody is on the same page. The next thing is you pull out a family calendar. Everybody looks at the family calendar. Everybody's on the same page. So there's no surprise. And then when you finish, everybody goes around, says what they're grateful for in their lives, and you finish with a snack. With this stress, our children are withdrawing, they're going to their bedrooms, they're being on technology. If you do this once a week and you're checking in, you'll notice everything from their skin color changing to them being nervous, making no eye contact, being fidgety. You can tell when they're holding secrets. Also, if you do it every week, they'll learn to trust this sacred space that you have created. And the key with parents, you have to be vulnerable because it opens your children to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
They think you're having these family meetings just to get information from them. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's really important. And also, one of the big things too is please get some kind of little tiny bookcase that's right by your garage, right as you load your car every single day. And everybody puts their homework there. You put your mug there to make sure you put your coffee for the car. You put your keys there. You put your purse there. Because part of the commuter stress and the biggest stressors I get from a lot of families is they forget things in the car. They scream, they fight, they come back. So cupboard, that little cubby right by the door. Everybody's got their name on a shelf,
Yeah.
and everything goes there when you come in from the and when you leave in the morning.
I love that you brought that up, Kathleen. I mean, there's so much there, and I hope everybody's taking notes because there's a lot to digest, and you'll probably want to watch this a few times. But when you talk about the forgetfulness, because I think we sometimes forget when we're so taxed with stress, our body does crazy things, and memory, forgetfulness, that distracted, you can't focus. That's all part of it. If we're not properly giving ourselves that self-care and trying to do, even through the stress, at least make sure that our bodies are functioning at the best optimal performance that they can, it's so important. It trickles down to everything. And when I tell you there are so many, I think we all forget things here and there, but there have been so many times my husband, he has driven away with the coffee cup on top of the car. There's forgotten lunches there. I forgot this, didn't pick this up, didn't take that, this so-and-so's birthday. We're so overwhelmed. Those layers that we talked about in the beginning, the more layers there are, the more we just kind of like implode if we don't navigate through that and really take those steps to function better. And I think the self part of exercise and the love and the serenity and the food all together, I think that was one of the things that I feel was overlooked during COVID. Not getting into any type of political talk or anything with this, but when you talk about vaccines, you talk about wearing masks, you talk about staying away from people, but the healthier we are as human beings, I don't care if it's COVID, if it's the flu, if it's anything, mental health, physical health, the stronger we are, the more we're going to be able to fight off whatever is going to come our way. So it's just so
If I had
important.
another vaccine booster that I could make myself and pass it around, it would be kindness. Because I think even when I let somebody in line at the grocery store, or you let somebody, my husband was in horrible Atlanta traffic yesterday, and somebody let him in, and he was, was mobile. He didn't have anything in his hand, but he was talking to me, and he almost cried. He said, "I can't believe this man let me in." And he'd had a horrible operating experience with a patient he had. He was on his way to his office. See, and it was just a little piece of kindness that I was so shocked. And I talked to a patient of mine that was depressed and thinking about suicide. And she was standing on a corner crossing a street, and she was just disoriented, thinking about doing horrible things. And this is just recently. And changing jobs, her kids, all kinds of, just overwhelmed. Some man turned around, he made a U-turn, put his flashers on and got out and said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "What?" And he said, you had a funny look on your face. And I'm late for work, but I just could not go to work and see your face in my heart all day long." And he said, "Are you okay?" And she burst out crying. And she said, "I can't believe you stopped." And, in that kind of a voice. And he said, "Why don't we go get a cup of coffee?" totally late. He was totally late for work, didn't know this woman from Adam's House Cat. These little acts of kindness can literally transform a person's life. So let's all, you know what I mean? Instead of being short, and that's a spiritual discipline. You have to keep saying, today I'm going to start with kindness. Today I'm, you know, we can say, oh, I'm going to love everybody. That's huge and that's big and that's all this other stuff. Um, kindness, I can't even, I went to get yogurt and yesterday and I'm short. So I was reaching Publix trying to get it. And this very tall woman, beautiful, gorgeous, came up behind me and she taps me on the shoulder. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to get me for trying to stand on the ledge, right? I thought, oh my God, self-critical. She smiles at these beautiful, gorgeous teeth and she goes, you know what? I played round ball, basketball in college, and I'm really tall. And she said, would you like me to get that yogurt for you? And I said, oh my God. And she reaches just as beautiful and reaches and hands me the yogurt. She said, is there anything somebody directionally challenged like you needs? I went, yeah, over in the bean aisle. There were two for one, two for the price of one. Could you walk over there with me? And she went. So we became friends, changed phone numbers. Adorable.
Oh,
She's a teacher. So see, one little act of kindness,
yeah.
and so anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It opens our hearts in ways that we wouldn't open. Everybody, and remember, stress makes you close down. This is part of our DNA adaptation to stress. This goes back 100,000 years. If I see somebody coming at me through the woods, or I hear a noise I don't understand, or I know that I'm not going to be able to pay for something, or me getting kicked out of my cave, I close in. I protect everything. So it's not actually a natural response to be open. So this is why it's a practice. It's a spiritual practice. It's a psychological practice, and it will teach your children, the people you work with. It'll spread just like oxygen.
If only we can spread the good stuff as much as we spread the bad stuff. And it's an uphill battle, but I tell you what, I am encouraged. And we talked about this before. Coming from a news background, I don't watch the news anymore. I can't. I know what's going on. I can see the headlines on my phone, but it's really hard when there's just so much negativity. But I do see a change where people are starting to get it, and they're like, you know what? I think people actually want to be encouraged, and I do see more of a push. There needs to be more, a lot more. But I think that's our only hope, And you hit the nail on the head.
Is you have to watch the news. Okay, I'm not, and again, news causes, please understand me, it causes much stress. It's a horrendous stressor, but this is why you have to manage it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I don't believe people have a right to withdraw from society. So when all these people say they don't watch the news anymore, I'm like, oh my God, we have to care for each other. We have to know about what's going on. So I tell everybody to tape the news, your favorite one. I tape everything in the morning. I tape everything on every channel. Tape it, tape it, tape it. So then what I do is later in the day, how at the beginning of every show, today's show, GMA, they say, this is what we're going to talk about today. I may want to know about Michelle's show. You see, they may feature you. So they do cool things, or we have 5 things on sale in the kitchen that you're going to love. Or, this woman won 500 baking recipes, at the county fair. So my point is, you're going to miss out on a lot of fun in life if you just don't. So my point, and I needed to hear about these court decisions. I didn't know what the deal was. So my point is, though, what we know psychologically is the minute I tape it and I have that control, I feel in control. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So it's different than me turning on the news and feeling assaulted.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm making a choice. So my brain does that. My brain feels in control. Remember, stress happens when we feel out of control and we can't manage change. When I do that, again, all the shows I tape, blum, 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 I'm in control. I go, boop, boop, boop. I'm not watching that. Oh, look at what happened there. Da, da, da. I need to call my senator about this. Do you see? So it allows me, and I sit there with a pen and paper, and whether it's giving money, we had a bad fire in the apartment complex down the road. So I keep a pen and paper when I'm racing through, and I stop it and go, okay, give money to the people that live in the apartment, call the Red Cross and give them money. Do you see? I go through because some of them are a call to action.
Yeah.
We need to participate. That 40 people lost their homes in a matter of 30 minutes yesterday here in Atlanta. So do you see, I don't want to miss out on what we're being called to do. And then the good stories, some of them, make you cry and
100%.
just when I thought all these shootings and all these bad things in the world, look at that story I just saw. Oh my God. And sometimes I'll call my husband at the operating room and just go, Jim, and my daughter's an ICU doctor. I'll call him and go, okay, stop what you're doing. I'm going to tell you this beautiful story. And they'll cry too and go, thank you for sharing that. So that's, you see, so
I
that's,
love that.
we have to manage it, but we are not allowed in this world with climate change and these crises going on around the world to withdraw completely. I think is our civic duty is to engage and observe, but again, be in control. When
Right.
I see that list in the morning of GMA, the Today Show, MSNBC, whatever I see, I go, okay, I'll try that one. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
Try that. Do, 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 do.
And it's interesting because I never really looked at it that way. And that's why I only pretty much get my news from my phone because I'm in control. And that's the thing. I choose like, nope, don't want to read about that. Don't want to hear about that. Oh, I want to see what's going on with that. So it's the same thing, but I never thought about a way to do that for the shows that I used to watch a lot more.
The world is so big right now. The nice thing about taping these shows is they, show you things I don't think about. I don't have purview to, a new cancer treatment, something I need to quit eating, different interesting things that just fascinate me and fascinating people that I don't know about. So if I just go on my iPhone and filter through what I don't like, it's so narrow, and every news service is different. So that's why, these people go, I watch this and I don't watch that. Well, I tape them all and go through because everybody has, salt and pepper through there of fascinating. And you and I are curious.
Hmm.
And part of the aging thing is I love of my life. I've had a magical life with an amazing partner and just an unbelievable life. And it's because of being very, very curious. And so I don't want to leave that behind.
Yeah. No, it's amazing and I'm so happy just for that one tip. I mean, all of your tips and the information that you give, you're always such a wealth of knowledge and help for me. Every time I talk to you, I learn something new and I'm sure that everybody listening is doing that as well. But just that one tip alone, because as you said, I really do miss it. And I have friends in the news business when everything with the Ukraine started, he was there. And I watched it just because I was so concerned because they were right there where everything was starting off. This was the first few days. So that was the first time that I had watched the news in years just because I was so concerned. And then as soon as that was off, I needed to switch it because it was just too emotional and too much. But I love that being in control because we do miss out on so much. And once again, it all comes back to connection. We're all in this together. And if we can remember that, and you made such a great point with you never know what somebody else is going through. And you could see the tears coming when you told me that story about the woman who was just, on the brink of not sure where she was going to go next. You never know what people are going through. And if we can remember that, because when we're having those bad days, we can be good people. But if you're having a bad day, like my husband can tell you the other day, I'm like, I can't take this. I was getting a little feisty. It's hot. Things aren't going well. The heat makes everything like more escalated. I consider myself a relatively, nice person on the average day, but I was not having a good one. But if somebody sees just one snippet of you having a bad day or not being necessarily yourself, you never know.
Do what you do. For an example, we make ice cream. I have Jim's mother's 100-year-old ice cream recipes, and we make them in an old-fashioned ice cream freezer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Peaches in Georgia time, so I made peach ice cream. So what I do is I put it in little containers. Well, it's homemade peach ice cream. I keep spoons at the front door. I keep it in the freezer. So the UPS person, the postal person, everybody, in the front checkout people at Publix, put it in the freezer. I take people these things and they go, you're going to give me that? Absolutely. I peeled those peaches and made all that myself. And that's a 100-year-old recipe. So every one of us, if you're a soup maker, if you're whatever you do in the winter, I make soups. I freeze them in little, containers, 8-ounce containers, keep a spoon by the front door. I don't care if you're delivering something to me or whatever you're doing. If you're fixing my electricity, everybody leaves, pull it out of the freezer, and I have little bags and put a bow around the top. We can do amazing things for each other.
Yeah.
And whatever your gift is, whatever that is, I happen, to have old recipes that were passed down for forever. And, I love surprising these people. The little UPS guy was so adorable. He must have been all of 20. He came back the next day and just was real emotional, came up, and he'd lost his mother, and his grandmama used to make peach ice cream. And so I didn't know that. He didn't know that. He went down and stopped the UPS truck down the street and started crying, he said, and ate the peach ice cream. Who knows that? Do you see? But
Yeah.
you just do it because we all need to connect more than ever. We do. So let's all hold hands. I mean, you can joke about that old Coca-Cola commercial. Do you remember when everybody had different races and they went around the world? I'd like to teach the world to sing.
Yeah.
I could, and I'm not too, I'm like you, man. I can have my bad days, good days, but I got news for you. At my stage of life, I have been through some good, bad, ugly, everything, losing money, losing a child, losing business, losing whatever. And on the other side, oh my God, the blessings that came out of everything, unbelievable. So we're
And
courageous. We're all in this lifeboat together. Okay.
wow, I did not have my tissues ready for this one, Kathleen, and I should have known because every time we talk, I usually you say something that gets me. But I didn't expect to get me that hard. But it's so beautiful, and it doesn't cost anything because whether it's soup, it's ice cream, it can be a kind word.
Exactly.
And it is just as worth its weight in gold as it is if you're buying somebody a gift. And we just have to remember that if we can be more cognizant every day of just being a little kinder, a little more, open to what people might be going through, imagine what this world would be like. I love you. I love when you can chat with me. And I love that you have so much love in your heart that you want to spread in the world. And it is always it's such a pleasure to be able to see you, even though it's not face to face, screen to screen. And I'm so thankful that you were able to give me this time today. And I know people out there are definitely going to be better for it and have some great tips. So Dr. Kathleen Hall, she is the founder of the Stress Institute in Atlanta. She also is the founder of the Mindful Living Network. And you can visit both of those websites. Is it mindfullivingnetwork.com, Kathleen?
Yes, it's mindfulliving.com. And we have a meditation room there too that's beautiful.
Wonderful. So lots and lots of great tips and tricks to get through and navigate through all that stress. And just think about that kindness, that gratitude, that helper's high that we get when we give out. And one person can make a difference. And if we can have that trickle effect, hopefully these conversations will be getting better and better. And we have less negativity to talk about. Kathleen, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, I always love you. You're such a light in our world. Thank you very much for everything you do.
Oh, Kathleen, I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. And you're such an inspiration to me and so many other people. And I thank you for what you do and for giving me this time. It is always so wonderful to have you here. So thank you.
Yeah, and you take care.
Want more MDM content? For more fun and exciting interviews, visit MichelleDawnMooney.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.